with them dad jokes.
Look, man, stop. We can't be like a man puts on a fake mustache. He gets
Fake.
all unruly.
Fake. This is all me.
Man grows a fake mustache. I mean, a real mustache, and he gets all. Are you okay, Jarrod?
I'm good. I'm ready.
Do you need a hug, man? You okay?
I guess, sure.
You know, I just want to make sure that you're taken care of down in Enterprise, that you're loved.
Okay, so I went to share the video on Twitter, and my phone won't let me in with face recognition.
What a surprise. I mean, you've been growing it all this time. I don't know why your phone is full, Jarrod.
I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah, okay. We're going to start, by the way.
Oh, now you want to start?
You didn't even let me finish. See, look, you and this mustache is going to be the ruining of this podcast. I was going to say we're going to start with a nice compliment about both of us, but you know what? Maybe we should start. Jarrod, if you would please, sir.
Okay.
Good Lord, New Warriors come out to play. Oh my God. And, I mean, I've been putting up with this. It's 2024. This has been going on 30. I'm just going to start. Welcome to Come Out to Play, a New Warriors podcast. I'm Delvin, a.k.a. The Dark Web. If you're watching us via YouTube or whatever way you may be listening, we love for you to hit the like and subscribe button, so you can hear me talk to my longtime friend about mustaches that he's growing and his surly attitude. and even before I introduce said surliness, I just wanted to read a nice comment that I came into from Mr. Eric Porter, who says, "I can't wait for this episode. I learned about the New Warriors by reading Guardians of the Galaxy from 1990, where there was a footnote about the then upcoming New Warriors series."
No, nobody read Guardians of the Galaxy back in 1990.
Would you stop it? Continuing, it was good for young Vance to see his future self, Major Astro, get his life turned around after their first encounter, where Vance got his powers. Also, I have listened to all of the Come Out to Play episodes except for one, and you guys are like a fine wine. You see that, Jarrod? He had kind things to say to you.
What a nice thing to say.
Right.
I wish he was my podcasting partner, actually.
What's that?
Nothing. It's so hard to talk through this thing.
Good. I'm hoping that it causes difficulty the entire time. You know, sometimes, it's like a Tears of the Clown thing. There you go. Now you look like The Rock. Sort of.
This thing is way too.
You just that guy over there with the mustache shenanigans. That's Jarrod Albrick.
I'm done.
The yard sale artist, affectionately known as Jackass to me, and possibly many others. He probably has a question for me, so take it away.
You would think I would be ready for this. Hang on, let me get a sip while I think of the question. Got it. All right.
Okay.
This is one of the few times that we've had a guest penciler. In fact, I can only think of one other time in New Warriors, maybe twice. We've had a guest penciler.
Had one last issue.
Yeah. Okay. Was that the one I was thinking of? I think so.
I don't know.
I feel like there was maybe one during the run.
There was 24. Chris Marinan.
Yeah. See, I think I'm going on. Let's talk about your most memorable guest penciler experience. Doesn't have to be good, can be bad, but I mean, we try to be positive on this show, but you're like, this guest penciler is all right. Or you could be like, this guy Spencer torpedoed the hell out of this.
Come on, that's easy. I mean, I've only brought him up like 3 billion times since we started podcasting. That'd be Mr. Bagley. Mr. Bagley caught my attention on Amazing Spider-Man when he subbed in for Eric Larson. Drew Amazing Spidey 345. It was a issue that had Boomerang in it.
Oh, I remember it well. I was reading and collecting at the time, but what I had forgotten was that he was. I thought that was when he took over. I forgot Larson had a few more books in him before the switch was made.
Yep, the switch was officially made in 351. Eric Larson ended with 350 with a great storyline with Spider-Man, Dr. Doom, and the Silver Fox, I believe. So, yeah, he was trying to. Yeah, Silver Fox had stolen an heirloom from Dr. Doom. Dr. Doom was like, "I'm gonna kill you," and Spider-Man's like, "You can't kill him. He's a feeble old man, and he reminds me of my Uncle Ben." And Dr. Doom was like, "Well, I'm gonna beat your butt instead."
I'm whooping somebody today.
I opened the can. You cannot unopen the can. So ipso facto. So yeah, it would be Mark Bagley. He got my attention, and it made me start looking for more stuff that he drew. And somehow, I don't remember how exactly, wandered into the New Warriors, and here we are. Fast forward 35 some odd years later, doing a podcast about it. Do you have an answer for that? And while you're giving whatever answer you're going to give, I'm taking off my headphones to go get the comic book that I left on my couch. So take it away.
I didn't really have an answer, folks. So when Delvin comes back, I need you guys in the chat to be like, that is the best answer I've ever heard for a guest penciler. That's like, get big on it in the chat, because I don't have an answer. But I want him to feel like he missed something really special. So while you're doing that, I'm going to drink some of my soda and say hello to Scott and Eric and Bat Boy Versus and Auburn Elvis and Kathy and Hines Linkovich. Might have already said Matt Passo, if not Matt Passo. Oh, I was saying hey to a few folks after I gave my overwhelming. Look at that. People loved it. There you go. Boom.
What was your answer?
You'll never know. You'll never know. I specifically told them we were not going to tell you. I just wanted their feedback in the chat.
Fair enough. All right. I mean, lost the mustache, did not lose the attitude. By the way, I'm guessing, by the way, you didn't say anything. And then,
ladies and gentlemen, we see now Delvin and I have been friends for 30 years. It didn't take him long to put this puzzle together. All I asked him to do is to put really good feedback about it in the chat, because I couldn't think of anything.
I thank you for saying hello to everybody who has joined us so far. And Eric corrected me already. We're already getting corrected on stuff.
What did you do?
It was me. He said, wasn't it the Black Fox? And I was like, it might be. I remember he had. Did I put up thumbs up?
You're doing it right now. It's interpreting that as thumbs up.
Oh my goodness. So yes.
Listen, here on Come Out to Play, we don't see color. Okay, it's just any color fox you want to be.
He had gray hair, and I guess that's why I was thinking.
I know the character you're thinking of, and I thought his name was Silver Fox too. And you know what? I discovered the other day that the first appearance of Silver Sable was in a comic with him, with Black Fox. So that's probably why both of our brains conflate Black and Silver Fox. I'm not even kidding.
Okay.
Yeah, I was up at a comic shop and they had it up on the wall. And it was like first appearance of Silver Sable. And I was like, oh, I had that issue. And he's on the cover. He's like falling off of some crates. And I was like, oh, I had that issue. And I thought his name was Silver Fox too.
Gotcha. What was I gonna say? Yeah, I don't know if we'll ever get that far in the run of Amazing Spider-Man. That was about the run. That's the Tom DeFalco run Friends era of Spider-Man, where you had the Silver Sable and Black Fox in there or whatever. And it was a lot of fun. I don't know if we're going to get that far, but who knows? Like, I don't think we're planning on calling this LONGBOX CRUSADE thing anytime soon.
We're rolling till the wheels fall off.
So, I mean, we will see how that goes. All right. You asked me the question. We're about 10 minutes in. I actually don't know how long this one's going to be. But you know, we always find a way to get some minutes out of it anyway, right? So let's figure it out. After my boilerplate, come out to play as a chronicling of the 1990 series, The New Warriors. The first volume of The Warriors ran 75 issues. We're almost halfway there. Jarrod and I will cover all of this first volume as I rediscover my love for this series, help Jarrod find his, and share our love and joy with the listening audience. Grab your skateboards, grab your bucket helmets. It's time to play, y'all. And we're talking about New Warriors 36. The cover credits go to E. Craig Brasfeld. And yeah, I almost said Jarrod Albrecht. And Jeff.
You know, I've inked a couple covers, but not this one.
And Jeff Albrecht. And Jarrod's looking at stuff and monitoring.
I'm good. No, I was pulling up our cover. I got us all squared away.
Apparently, I'm not focused today, Jarrod, because, you know, like that silence that just happened, I was like, why isn't Jarrod just immediately describing the cover?
I was waiting for someone to ask.
I was like brainwashed. Like, I mean, you normally do describe the cover, right? Am I losing it?
I have been known to describe the. I'm going to switch us for a second, though. Maybe. All right. Yeah. Okay. I don't know how I feel. Yeah. Let's talk about the cover. Welcome to episode 36. By 37, we'll have it wired tight. I assure you, ladies and gentlemen.
He's lying.
I'm going to remove the banner so that everyone can see the full cover. Okay. All right. So you have your New Warriors logo, which is in a very sort of 90s-ish font with sort of the turquoise green and that reddish, orangish color that was very popular in the 90s. It's that newer logo. They kind of switched logos on us within the last few issues. We've talked about that earlier. And it says featuring Marvel Boy across the top. The corner box is yellow with some turquoise. It's very 90s. It's using turquoise again. And it has pretty much your whole basic team there in the corner box. The main action focuses on Vance Astrovik. And it says Vance Astrovik, honor, power, and justice in its own font, as if to say, wink, wink. Never have I seen a character try to get rebranded so hard at a forced story. You know what? We'll get to it. Anyway, he is, get ready for this one, Delvin. He is bifurcated on the cover. As we view him on the left, he is in. Is that a new outfit, Pat? Pat, what show am I on? Episode 30. Is that a new outfit, Delvin? Or have we seen him in that one before? You're going to have to help me out. It's been a while since he's been in costume, so I can't remember if we've seen that costume.
It has been a while since he's been in costume. And I
can't remember.
It's certainly similar to the Marvel Boy costume. I mean, considering that at least on the top of the New Warriors banner, it does say featuring Marvel Boy.
Yes.
So
anyway, on his left side, he's in a Marvel Boy, maybe kind of new costume. On his right side, he is in his prison togs. And he has the scales of justice balance, which teases you into thinking there's going to be some awesome characters in this book that do not appear, like the Thing, Captain America, the Woman in Red,
Firestar.
Okay.
That is Firestar. Okay. That's Firestar's new costume.
And Captain America Jr., who I can only assume is Bucky. I'm not good at this.
That's Vance Astrovik, or excuse me, Vance Major Astro.
Okay, this is the first time I've seen this character because I didn't read Guardians back in the day, so he was new to me. Anyway, this is the worst cover description ever. And the other half of the Scales of Justice, which he said in a different font, you have, I believe, the Prison Warden, the Wizard, and two of the two. I think it's two. It's
looks like two
of the guys that are the guards at the prison, the Vault guards, and that's about it. Although they are celebrating 30 years of X-Men if you got the direct edition cover in the little cover box where the UPC would go. But yeah, in the end, it's a big old picture of Vance, bifurcated costume and prison garb, doing the Scales of Justice thing with sort of heroes on one side and quote unquote villains on the other.
There's that, and I also want to mention that the cover, Why can't we both have brain rot this time?
It's episode 36.
In the corner box. That's the word, corner box. Those are two words. So yesterday, Jarrod, I was asked to volunteer for like this VA study. And so for the day, I went up to the Salisbury VA clinic and spent most of the day with like a psych tech. And we ran through a gamut of all sorts of tests to include like memory and stuff to make sure, that I'm at least somewhat smart as far as keeping memory and retaining certain things. And here we are. And I left there and she was all impressed. And here we are one day later. I can't remember the words corner box.
Yeah, you might need to make a phone call.
Maybe too, if I can remember the digits. The corner box was striking to me. If you notice, you got all of the warriors there. You got Thrash, Rage, Marvel Boy, Marvel Boy, Namorita, Nova, Firestar, and Speedy. I just thought it was cool.
Oh.
No Ashley Larry. Maybe in the background. Maybe that's Cord. Like once he gets out of the shower. But like I saw that and it just kind of made me smile. They just look like kind of like one big happy family, and I don't know if I've ever seen that before. So.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. That does leap out at me too, because I don't think we've seen the filled team corner box. People in the chat will let us know if we're messed up, but I don't think we've ever seen this one before. And Jason Lady helped me remember the memory. Those guys that work at the vault are called guardsmen, which Auburn Elms was pretty funny because he responded, "Don't tell Jarrod what the armor is called. I want to hear his guesses again because I have awesome guesses when I don't know what things are called."
So we talked all around the cover. Have we talked about it necessarily? Do you like it? Do you not like it?
Talk about maybe some scores on it, maybe, or something like that.
No, just describing maybe what it is that you feel about the cover. How did the cover make you feel?
I forgot how the show works. It's episode 36. It covered, first of all, made me feel like it was like 1992, with its color scheme. Like there were Taco Bells with this color scheme, and I loved it. I was there for it. Other than that, I mean, immediately I noticed it was a guest penciler and inker. I didn't think it was bad. I was like, okay, this isn't our usual crew, but it's good. It's what we call a symbolic cover with the scales of justice and all that. It's not something that happens in the book. As I mentioned, you're not going to see the Thing or Captain America in the book. Captain America, I think, gets mentioned, but I don't think we actually see him. Anyways, the only other thing that stands out to me is it was probably done relatively quick. As there's no background to it, unless they just decided, hey, this white background will really let the symbolic scales of justice thing pop, which would make sense because I mean there's a little bit of extra color going on at the bottom, but otherwise it's on pure white. And for a symbolic cover that's not the usual creative team, I think it's pretty good.
Eric Porter, because he's the only name that I'm going to mention today. Everybody else can just go pee off. Says it's, for your information, it's major victory after the Guardians number 20, which was 1 month ahead of the Warriors comic. Didn't know that. And somebody added, Jason Lady, that is. Excuse me, I'm not mentioning anyone's name other than Eric Porter. My mistake. Eric Porter, too, says, Eric, that's right. 1 rank higher than Cap. And Jarrod, I just wanted to know, did you know that Major is 1 rank higher than Captain?
Seems like I heard that somewhere before. I think that applied to an old job I had once.
Likewise. Yeah, the cover is good. And I might mention it more. Like I know I mentioned it last episode. Not the craziest about Mr. Brasfield's art, but it could have been a rush job. You never know. And so at that, and they wanted to keep the book going once a month, I applaud the professional effort that he put out. It's a good idea. I do like that, especially because in a sense, it's playing on themes of the book of how the scales of justice are balanced, how, you have good I'm putting that in quotes on one side, and evil, I'm putting that on quotes on one side, are often balanced. So I do like the idea of the cover. It's good. And the corner box did just kind of give me a good old warm fuzzy. That's a military term, by the way, warm fuzzy, of which Jarrod and I both learned that a major is one rank higher than a captain. And with that, should we rate the cover? Or before we do that, I saw a few other people come in that we may or may not have said hello to. Doc Strange, Scott O'Neill. Let's see. There's another head. Aaron Moss. I feel like there's another one. If did you mention Stream Elements? Stream Elements came on too.
I don't think I did. Hey, Stream.
Yeah, man, we got quite a good deal of people here today. So thank y'all all for coming in. And if you comment, we're going to try and mention your name. So that's it. And I see what you're doing there, Matt Paso. And, I don't like it. But what I do like is rating the book 1 to 10. You know what? I never go first. I will go first. I like the idea. I'm not crazy about the execution, I guess, because I'm not the hugest fan of Mr. Braswell's art. But I don't want to harp on him too bad and be too negative about it. So I'm going to land at a 7. My first thought was a 6, but I'm going to give it a 7 because of the idea of the concept is one that's good. What do you think?
I was going to give it a 6, so that's really the number I had in my mind. I was like, it's not awful. It's not top tier. It's serviceable in a good way. So I nudge it past the halfway mark to the 6. Interested to see if anybody in the chat how they feel about this one. So be sure to drop anything on a 1 to 10. Don't you drop those disgusting halvesies on us. Mm-hmm. Whole numbers only, please.
Whole numbers only. We got a couple that have come in. Jason Lady says I give the cover a 6. It's okay. Good concept, but not sure it jumps out at me. Matt Paso says it's a 7. Let's see how long got Jason Lady's comment. And Matt Paso gave it a 7. Says I also like the concept. AU Kathy said 7. I like its simplicity and clear and easy to understand. Aaron says I give it a 7, maybe a 7.5. Nope. Just a 7. Trey Black, I don't know if we said hello to you, Trey. If we not hello, says 8. I'm a big thing guy, and the scales of justice motif does it for me. Lack of stuff in the background keeps it from going higher. Let's see. I think that's all the ratings we got. If we get any more, I'll be sure to read them. But for now, here's Jarrod with the credits for the issue.
All right. We are talking New Warriors number 36. Its on sale date was April 27th, 1993. Let's all take a minute to remember 1993. Yeah. Anyway, its cover dated June of 1993. Its cover price was $1.25. The story is by Fabian Nicieza. The pencils are Craig Brassfield. Inks are Jeff Albrecht. That's my cousin. Colors are Joe Rosas. Letters are Joe Rosen. And editor is Rob, villain of the Ninja Turtles, Tokar. All of this is thanks to Mike's Amazing World. I heard that Mike from Mike's Amazing World actually passed away this year. So much love, Mike, for all the work you did for so many podcasters use that site. I just want to give him a quick shout out.
So many. And I would hope that those other podcasts gave him shout out like we do here at the LONGBOX Crusade. He gets shouted out all the time. So may you rest in peace, Mike from Mike's Amazing World. One more. Eric Porter gave it an 8, by the way. And says only because of the major victory appearance. Man, you keep holding that guard for the old Guardians of the Galaxy. Like, I used to read a lot of comic books, and I remember seeing the Guardians of the Galaxy on the cover. And I'm trying to remember, since my memory is just flagging today, the artist on there, was it Silvestri? No. It's somebody who went over to Image. He's one of the guys who went over to Image Comics eventually.
Valentino?
Thank you. It was Jim Valentino. And yep, he wound up going over to Image, and that's the main reason that I remember it. If I read any of the comics, I probably did. I probably just didn't understand them as much. Just I don't know, did not appeal to my mind at the time. I don't know. And with that, we will go to the synopsis. The title of this book is The Scales of Justice. The main action of the book focuses on Vance Astrovik, also known as Prisoner 344678, in the vault and a prisoner uprising. Can Vance find some sense of justice? I put it in caps, so I couldn't just say, can Vance find some sense of justice? I had to say, can Vance find some sense of justice in a very tough situation? Also, Nita's one night stand might wind up being a little more than a New Warriors can stand. And so we're talking about it.
All right. You want to bring up pages and talk?
I want to bring up pages and talk. You can bring up pages. Well, you already switched it to come out to play story review.
I did.
You're already on it.
I'm on top of things. All right. Let's do some pages and talk. First page I selected was page 1, just to give us, the creative team and all that jazz. It's a pretty halfway decent drawing, by the way, from Brassfield and Company. And it features Vance in his prison garb kicking off the Scales of Justice story. So it really just kind of sets a stage. And anything you want to say about this before I move on? You let me know.
Kind of reminded me of a parallel from when they did the last vignette with Vance, which I believe was Warriors 26, where he was sort of sparring against the guardsmen of the vault then, because he had already gotten their trust, and he kind of wiped the floor with them. And it seems as if as good as he was then, he's gotten even better now. So that's an important thing to say.
Yeah, he's making good use of his time. I know we're just on page 1 here, but I am impressed that he's using his time to develop his powers. The old saying, do your time, don't let your time do you. That's what he's doing. Like, he has a positive outlook. He's not wallowing in misery, which I think speaks well to his character.
And looks like he has been in a vault, they made sure to mention, about 5 months' time. So, I mean, that's quite a chunk of time there. And you're right. It looks like he's done a lot to improve himself. You can tell it. I don't know which page you're showing next, but you can tell that his confidence level is sky high. I mean, good transition. We remember Vance from issue 1, right? He had some confidence and he was like, oh yeah, I'm going to break into the Avengers Mansion. And then it's like, oh, I can't tie my shoe. Let me use my telekinesis. Can't do it. And Cap was just pathetic.
I'm embarrassing myself in front of maybe the most respected character in this whole universe.
Oh my God, I just peed my pants. I peed my pants in front of Cap. Oh, Vance. And now, he was practically cocky with the guardsmen. Like, at one point, the guy's like, it's down to you and me. It's like, is it? Pretty much just down to me, isn't it? In their bucko, So yeah, it's incredible to see the glow up from Vance. But what do you think?
Well, again, I like his attitude. I like that he's not having a hard time, because the guards, they know what they have here, right? This reminds me of the time that me and my buddy Randy, we're both honor roll students, got in school suspension for doing something stupid,
Yeah.
And in school suspension was like, it wasn't hard for us because, it's always that real hard, mean teacher that runs ISS, right? But he knew we didn't belong there. So, we just kind of did our time quiet and left. He didn't never jump on us or nothing.
Yeah.
And that's what this reminds me of. Like, the guards know he's not a threat. The guards know he's a good dude. They've become, I would say, friends. They have a mutual beneficial relationship here. Vance gets to work on his powers. The guards get to work on their tactics. So it's it would have been easy for Fabian to make this. He's gone to prison, so he's got to be miserable, but he didn't take that tact. And I applaud the sort of fresh, not taking the easiest road possible as a writer.
And it speaks to Vance's character, though. Like, because if anything, it to me, it wouldn't make sense if he was just moping around miserable in prison. And the reason why is because he admitted to everyone, it's like, yeah, I did put my dad through that wall and I killed him. He should not have been hitting me, but I absolutely should pay the penance for doing what I did. He said that about himself. And I tell you what, man, like, and I raise my hand to God. My dad was not an abusive man like that. But if he were, and I put him through a wall, I wouldn't be like, oh yeah, I did the time. I need to go. I was like, he put his hands on me. Screw him and the horse he rode in on. Innocent. 4 more years. I may have mixed some metaphors there somewhere. But it speaks to Vance and his character that he's like, no, I want to do the time. And it looks like he is, just to use your words, use that opportunity to improve himself. There are a couple comments I wanted to read. Scott O'Neill mentioned Liefeld and Valentino actually proposed a New Warriors-like series that featured many of the same characters as the New Warriors, with some eventual Youngblood characters mixed in. And says also, it was a year or so before the New Warriors launched. Liefeld ended up on New Mutants instead, and Valentino ended up on Guardians of the Galaxy. Scott with the knowledge.
Man, I love our chat. They even when I joke about them jumping all over us when we get stuff wrong, it is just joking. You guys are real smart, and you guys always do it in a fun and respectful way. So you guys are the best. Except for that Kathy. She's far too sassy.
You would know if sassy, Jarrod. Next screen, please.
Aaron Moss with his half points. I'm sorry, I got grumpy. Next screen. All right, we had to talk about this. Yeah. So remember how I said I really liked how Fabian did something fresh and new with the whole prison storyline with Vance. Like this was like kind of made me sad because I was like, we talked about it in the last issue. Like Nita was having her night out, and she was feeling herself, and we were like, you know what, that was pretty out there for some of our taste, those of us that were growing up on comics in 80s and 90s. But we are in an era now of like sex positivity, and I'm okay with that. Right up until she literally like put the entire team and their personal lives in the crosshairs because she wanted to go be party girl. And I was like, just when you were winning me over with your you're Nita, the princess of Atlantis, or whatever her rank is down there, like she was really kind of winning me over, and she can have a night out of fun, sure. Man, Fabian made her pay for that, and I was like, oh my god, like I had a feeling it wasn't going to end well. Like maybe she'd have some regrets or something, but like I didn't know it was going to be this bad. I was like, oh geez, he is putting her through the paces, and I hate to be that. Actually, nope, never mind. I'm not going to say what I was going to say. I'll tell you later, Delvin. I'll let everybody else in the chat wonder.
Okay. A couple of things. One, this is kind of where I'm not a fan of Mr. Brasfield's art. That first panel is...
Okay, that's what I was going to say, but as another comic creator, I didn't want to come down hard on him because I'm not saying I can do better, but I wasn't a fan. I'm
not a comic book creator. I cannot do better. That's horrible.
All right, I'll do the joke I was going to do. I thought that was Beta Ray Bill up there in the top. Just a joke.
Wilbur.
Brasfield is more than I will ever be. I want to be very clear about that. I just thought it was funny.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan of that part of the artwork. And yeah, you know, and I know, Jarrod, like we're always told in the Air Force, I mean, how many briefings did we get on OPSEC? And especially like if, so I'll to school the whole audience on it. Like when it comes to OPSEC, operational security, you have to be guarded about what it is that you know and who knows it. Because a lot of times, even if you think that you are that you're Delvin Williams, average civilian out on the town. Somebody may have done their homework and said that, hey, this person is Lieutenant Delvin Williams out on the town, and I need to see what he knows. So I'm going to find a pretty lady, and I'm going to sidle her up to him. And it's like, oh, you're the most handsome man in the world. And I'm like, oh, gosh. And then, it's like, and I know you do this cool Air Force job. It's like, I do. And I do this thing. And I tell these stories about it. And next thing I know, I've given away information. And enter Namarita Prentice.
Just spilled everything and the beans. And, there's a lot. I want to jump in because a lot of people talking about this in the chat. And I noticed it too. On the end table, there's an open condom wrapper. And a lot of people noticed that. I noticed it when I was reading it as well. And I thought,
oh, geez, I did not notice that.
It's been a thing in the chat. You can look at that. I wanted to address that because on the one hand, when I saw it, I was like, "Ooh, racy Marvel back in 1993." And then I thought, giving it the time and the context, and I hate to tell everybody else in the chat, most of you about as old as we are. This was very on the heels of AIDS awareness. Magic Johnson had just come out. That was huge, and condom usage became like a big important thing. And because someone in the chat, I lost the comment, if you can find it, I'd love to give credit, but it said I think it was Jason Lady said something about, but this got past the comics code, and I think that's probably why. I think it was important. Safe sex became like very important as a, not that it's not still, but like it became very highlighted there in the late 80s and early 90s.
I can't find the comment, but I saw Scott O'Neill.
There's his response.
Oh, there it is. Yeah. So, but if anything, I agree. And we had that conversation some time ago when we were reviewing the Bond movies on Her Majesty's Secret podcast, Rookie Agents, where right around the time that Brosnan started taking over, and especially Craig, like Bond became less of that womanizer. Like it probably peaked around
Roger Moore.
I was gonna even say on Her Majesty's.
Oh, Majesty's, yeah.
to where here I am at Piz Gloria, and
it's
here
1969, baby.
How many women are I sleeping with tonight? 18, 19. Do I use a condom? No, of course not. Free love, baby. Yeah, no, love ain't free. And so, all of that stuff started changing. So it's probably good that they mentioned it in the book. And I missed it. You would think, I've read the book twice and I missed that part of it. But yeah, this is an important page, and it looks like, and Fabian laid it on quite thick, because it was, you could tell something bad is going to happen as a result of, they even gave up the game. They said exactly who these people were at the end, and I know you have it as a page, and so we could save it just for a few minutes from now.
I want to do just a quick comeback on again the whole Brasfield first panel thing. We had our laugh on it. It's not attractive, and it's maybe not supposed to be, because it's not a great moment for her. I want to come back and say that he and his inker do really good. The panel below it, silhouette shadow work, because that is good. Is downright sexy. That was a sexy drawing, and yes, but without being overt. It's silhouette work, but it's very attractive. So like he has a skill set. Just
no, good good point. I'll take that, and I will add, just as a food for thought. And since let's see, Jason Lady says, it bugs me that the strong female character goes through this storyline. Would they have done this with Nova, Thrash, Vance? You have to wonder.
I'll address that. I'll address that with Nova. It's too easy.
I agree.
It's too easy. I almost feel like, in a weird, and I agree with him, because I made the statement earlier that I feel bad for her, but it's almost like, hey, how do I want to phrase this? Like, if you want to do the sexually promiscuous thing, it's easy to be the guy, the stud, the James Bond, right? So we did flip it on its ear. And of course, it does have consequences, but it often does for Bond as well. So, I mean, I'm not as mad about it. I don't look at it. I tend to be slightly more conservative than a lot of the folks around here, but I don't look at it too much as a slam on her. Like, she made a mistake, and goodness gracious, how big is it going to? It looks awful, but she doesn't know that. Like, it's not like she set out to do something wrong. Same things have happened to Bond and stuff. So I'm not too salty about that, but I have a different lens than a lot of you guys. So,
but see, I tend to agree with that, Jared. Like, I didn't. The three characters that Jason named, would Vance do it? No, because
he's in love.
Yeah, because he's in love with Angelica. So, like, that's out the door. Would Thrash do it? Probably not, because
he's too Bruce Wayne.
Right. Not only
he got no time for it.
Right. Not only is he with Silhouette, but like, he is like, even though Nita is in charge, you know, she's the interim like director or whatever, head of Oracle, while Namor is out. Like, it's possible that she's not as widely recognized. But actually, that's not true. She is recognized, and she uses her celebrity quite well. Like, and ever since like this was introduced, like, I mean, she's like going shopping, like, have you got it, flaunt it type thing. She has no shame of who she is. And so sure enough, last issue, she saw a dude that she was like, this dude is hot and I'm ready to party. And like, that's not a completely taboo subject. That wasn't a taboo subject in 1993. It certainly isn't a taboo subject now in 2024. So yeah, I think that it's okay to have Namorita as the person going through this. And it wasn't that much of a stretch that made her out to be whatever name that you want to call it. I think she was just somebody that, and stop me if you've heard this before, college student goes out and drinks and makes a mistake. That happened when me and Jarrod were in college. And so, like, I don't find that too much of a stretch or anything.
And, you know, you kind of gone through the roster there, and it made me think of who's left. Like, who else could we put through this? Like, Speedball, it's a teenage boy. It's way too easy and a little bit creepy.
Yep.
Rage, same story. Teenage boy, too easy, a little creepy. And Nova, who we mentioned, it's just too, like, like it almost so easy it doesn't make the story that interesting. So I'm with, I don't remember who originally brought this up. Maybe it was Jason. I can't remember.
Jason Lady.
Jason. I'm with him on the fact I mentioned this at the get-go. I don't like this happening to her per se, because it really kind of chops away at the female positivity angle, which I'm not against. But I mean, it makes for great storytelling, and you had to tell the story some way, and it ends up, I think she's the best vehicle for it.
And I would even challenge that, Jarrod. To me, it doesn't take away from female positivity. And what I mean by that is, like, if I won't say we have all, I'll just say Jarrod and I have had friends who have friends who are guys who have said, man, I've gone out and I had too much to drink, and then I wound up hooking up with this girl, and I probably shouldn't have done that, and that was a mistake. And it's like, yeah, because you're an idiot, and you shouldn't have done that. Well, guess what? I'm pretty sure girls have those discussions with their girlfriends too. Usually, girls are usually more protective of their friends, their girlfriends, than guys are of their guy friends. If it's a guy, it's like, all right, dude, don't be an idiot. You know, come back with your kidneys, and it's fine. Well, girls are like, no, we came into this club together. We're leaving all together. Girl power. So and guess what? Her friend tried to do that.
That's true.
Her friend was like, I don't know, you should do this. And Nita was like, nope, I'm drunk. I'm doing it. So, all right. Yeah, we've covered this version.
How much it takes to get a woman of that power level drunk. She must have drank a lot.
Well, alcohol gets you dehydrated, and dehydration makes her weaker. So,
yeah. I heard she drinks like you know what? No.
Yeah.
All right, we've got a few more pages, so we got to roll here.
Let's do that.
This was I put this one in just for our new best friend Eric, right? That's his name, Eric.
Yes.
Porter. I didn't even know he was coming to the show, but I knew he wanted to see this moment here, so I put it in here. I didn't know much about this. Again, I know just enough about the old Guardians to be like a little bit dangerous, but not. I don't know it. So I know that this was even as a guy who wasn't into it, I felt like this was sort of a powerful moment of kind of him telling him a future self, an alternate dimension. So again, I don't know all the ins and outs, but he's basically telling him like, you're doing the right thing. Hang in there. You know, short version, when going gets tough get going. You're going to be all right.
Agreed. And even that very brief description that Vance gave Warden Zelmiko, I believe is how you pronounce the name, about like who Major Astro was, even I was kind of like, I kind of don't get it. But it's okay. It's if we all could have a future version of ourselves to come in and give us a guidepost of what it is that we needed to do. Heck, I could use that now, much less 25 years ago. So yeah, like I thought it was a cool moment. And you know, Vance was just like, I feel kind of lost right now, and I feel like I'm losing myself a little bit. And he got this message that said, no, you're on the right track, man. You know, like, don't hit rock bottom. Find out who you are. Stay the course. I liked it. It was very good.
Wholly agree. All right. This and then 3 pages after this. We check in on the storyline where Robbie is kind of being blackmailed by his high school high school acquaintance who knows that he is Speedball. And I actually have a take on this. Sure, this guy, what was his name? Carlton, I think.
Carlton.
Sure, Carlton is very annoying. And the final panel you see here comes off as, you know, threatening, blackmailing Speedball and not very likable. My hot take on this is Speedball handles this poorly. He's handled it poorly from get-go. Like, he's kind of made this guy feel like crap. Like, the guy kind of is a turd, but I feel like if you handle this better and treat this guy with a little more respect and get down and be like, listen, okay, so you know this thing about me. This is the responsibility that comes with this. Is what makes it hard. But he's not doing it. He's be like, you have no superpowers. Yeah. And I'm just like, you are making it so much worse for yourself. But he's a teenager, so he doesn't have a lot of wisdom and perspective.
I was just gonna say, like, yeah, you're speaking as a 46-year-old man.
I am 47, sir.
Oh, my bad. That's right. At 40, could you imagine though, like 17-year-old you? And someone's like, I want to join your team. And you're like, I want to join your team.
I was actually nicer to people in high school than Robbie is. I can be honest and tell you that.
Oh, my goodness. So I do see what you're saying with that. And I kind of get both sides of it. Like, you get the sense that Carlton is kind of a dude that may not have a ton of friends. And so he found like a little nugget of information, and he's trying to find a way to exploit it as much as he possibly can. And Robbie, who has shown some signs of maturity, which is good, but he doesn't know how to handle this situation. And I don't know what I would have done in that situation either. It's like, oh, you're gonna tell everybody it's on the Warriors, right? Like, okay, good luck proving it. Oh, by the way, when everyone's back turns, I'm gonna whomp your ASS. So I don't know. I do agree with you in that, like, you know, teasing him that he doesn't have any powers isn't going to necessarily make Carlton go away. So I agree with that.
You made me think of Morgan Freeman as Lucius Fox in the Batman movies, when he was like, so you contend that you figured out Bruce Wayne's Batman, the most powerful man in Gotham City, is the most dangerous vigilante, and you want to blackmail him?
Good luck.
Good luck. Seems like bad idea to me, but hey, you do you, bro.
That was so brilliant. Like, he didn't even try and deny it. He was like, okay, if you think he's Batman, like, how much you willing to risk to put it out there?
Play your cards, buddy.
Oh man, yeah, that's good.
Bruce Wayne can afford to give you top dollar health care as every bone in your body is broken.
And technically, that's not killing you. Let's
Good night.
Let's see. Are there any comments? Nah, keep going.
All right. I'm sure people have things to say on Carlton later on, but we'll okay. This is the part I was worried about. Let's get through it. So, okay, by this point in the book, I feel like Fabian gets very, very heavy-handed here. Like he really wants to push this whole scales of justice. Keeps mentioning the word justice a lot. Like we're gonna have justice. You know, what's for dinner tonight? Justice. You know, and like I just feel like there's a better way he could have done it. And let me just go into it.
Sure.
So your name tag even reads needs to talk to plants tonight, which I thought was funny. He tried to turn it into like a prisoners need love to, storyline, and I think it just kind of fails on a certain level because I think he could have done a better tact about treating the prisoners with respect. Like he was so close to that. Like one of the things that he was harping on was we have these dampeners for our powers, and this dude needs to have a plant, and the warden's like, I don't want him to have a plant because he kind of controls plants and that could be deadly and who knows, right? And he's like, you got to show the prisoners love and respect too. So what I'm trying to say is I wish they would have kind of tracked more towards the respect, like almost like Shawshank Redemption, if I can use that, like that one guard who was so mean, right? He was so mean that he was basically taking guys that weren't really mean and making them mean. And I believe that does happen in some prisons. I believe that some of them can be so overbearing and mean that it takes guys who aren't necessarily even really bad guys and makes them bad guys. And I think that does happen. And I would have liked to seen that tack taken, but they kind of went too far when they're like, this guy needs to use his powers and all that. Cause I'm like, these guys have a terrible track record of destroying lives and killing people and all that. I don't want them to have their powers for 2 seconds. Not at all. Because you think a guy like the Wizard's like, if you give me my powers back, I'm going to be a good boy here. No, he's going to break out in about 45 minutes tops. Like, come on. Like, I get what he was going for, but I wish he would have left sort of forget they have superpowers. That's what I'm trying to say. Forget they have superpowers and just, treat them like men. Yes, you need to restrain their powers, but like, I wish it was more about how they were treated and not anything to do with powers. Does that make sense?
Yes. And geez, Terraformer. Whew, I almost forgot the guy's name.
I was not going to remember.
Terraformer. I do get that. Like, I think most of the things that you were saying were there. Like,
yeah,
like that even though like they are prisoners, they should be afforded a modicum of dignity. And I agree with that.
I do too.
If there were such a thing in the real world as a superpowered prison, or a prison that held superpowered people, would I want those prisoners to have those access to those superpowers? No. Absolutely
That's where it goes
not.
one step too far for me. That's where I'm like, no, I'm on the team warden on this one.
Yeah, like, and I think what Vance was saying is like, I don't like, and who knows? Like, I'm assuming that the neural dampener that like he was wearing like maybe dulls his senses and blah blah blah, and maybe there's something to mitigate it where they have their senses, but I don't know. Like at this point, we are going into like friggin' the nether world with all these suppositions, but like at least I think we can both agree that like there was a general point to be made that you've got. And it's tough. Like if you're a prisoner, like if generally speaking, if you're someone that is put in prison, and let's just keep it in the realm of comic books, they were put in prison because they broke the law, and they use their powers irresponsibly. So like that means that the level of trust has to start at 0 there. Now, could that possibly be built up to more? And I would hope that was kind of what was being addressed at the end, where the warden said, Okay, I might have to trust you. So let's draw up psych profiles and see where we can afford each individual person to have certain bits of liberty where we can. I agreed with that on the face of it, and think on the face of it that that's a good idea. But yeah, and I'll add, like, now throwing it to the real world only in the sense of Fabian's writing. I don't think they're like either you're going to be heavy-handed on this, like just like, okay, I am putting this in your face to completely like get my point across, or like you're gonna soft shoe it to the point that somebody would like basically write in and say, this was freaking insulting. What do you even know about it? Like, so if like given a choice, I would probably go heavy-handed to make the point, especially because Fabian's whole point here was not really, maybe small ways like an indictment of the prison system, but it really was to get across the character of justice.
I get that. I do.
Oops, Marvel boy.
And I agree with that. I think there was just a couple of small tweaks that would have made it work a lot better. And Trey chimed in and said this was more about basic right. Clearly we get that. And I just wish he'd stuck more to that, because the second part of Trey's comment says Terraformer literally needs contact with plants to survive. Okay. Fine. But I think they could have shown that a little better. Like, I think they needed, like, he needed to be in not his cell, but like in the infirmary, and they can't figure out what's wrong with him. And he's like, I need to be around plants, and the warden's like, I ain't giving you no plants. You're gonna escape. Like, they should have played it up more that this guy was like literally dying. Right. Then I just small tweaks, I think would have made it better. But otherwise it just came a little heavy for me. And I mean, it's a comic book, so let's not get wrapped around the axle. But yeah, just some small tweaks would have made it harder for me to balance. But the way it was presented, I was like, I'm kind of Team Warden on this one. Like, no, do not, especially you drop the wizard in there. Like, the wizard, hadn't he broken out of prison? Didn't we just see him break out of prison in Spider-Man or something like that?
Yeah, we did. And heck, even the wizard said, like, to Vance, he's like, I've been in and out of this prison more than you got whiskers on your face. So there's another Jason lady. I agree with this. He's like, the whole revolving door prison thing is such an ingrained comic book trope. It is awkward when it gets examined too closely.
Well said. And I think that's exactly what we're saying here. Like, the common ground here that we all agree on is it is a good story about, like I said earlier, apply it to the real world if you want to. Treating people with a certain amount of respect is kind of a good way to not make repeat offenders. If like I said, the Shawshank example, you can make people heavy-handed. This is my opinion. Heavy-handed prison system can make certain people harder who were never going to be that hard. It's a tough line to tell, but I think we all have we all just want the best possible process. When it comes to
the idea is supposed to be reform. You're not supposed to be a bad person and then come out worse, in which case that means whatever system that we had going there fails. All right, before I start playing Rage Against the Machine, let's go.
I was thinking about that movie, Murder in the First of Kevin Bacon, when he got put in jail for like stealing bread, and
so effing what?
He ended up becoming a murderer.
I'd rather die than go back in that. I remember I watched that at your trailer. I remember that boy Kevin Bacon played the hell out of that role.
That was an interesting film.
Who's the attorney? On
that? I'm not gonna remember. It's been too long. You got me on a movie one. Hey, people in the chat, who played the attorney in Murder in the First?
Somebody IMDb it real quick. But that was so striking that I remembered it from that movie, to where because Kevin Bacon's character didn't want to talk, and they had to treat him as a hostile witness, and finally they badgered him enough, and he was like, you know what, you're just gonna get put like, so effing what? Like, whoa, woo. Anyway,
turned into a performer. Who played the attorney? People in the chat. Anyways, let me get another one go. Let's wrap this up. Let's do that. Got this page. This was the wrap up of the story. which again, we really did nitpick the heck out of it, for a comic book story. It is fine. Just looking back on it in the 90s goggles, I found it to be heavy handed, but someone in the chat kind of reminded me like, Jarrod, dude, this is a 90s comic. And you're right. We all know at the end of the day, it was all about changing the page. My metaphors are terrible tonight. Turning the page to have Marvel Boy become Justice, right? We all got that. We got that from the cover. We get it from the last panel where you can see it literally in his eye. Also, I like I think the art style played well on this final panel too. He's got a good look on it, but it is a busy page, lots of panels. But I usually get down on comic creators who do a lot of panels. It's just gets a little crammy, but I like the use of it here because it's a lot of facial reactions to like one person's key decision. In this case, it was the warden there at the top. And I thought that's good comic craft right there. That's a good use of a lot of panels. You get all these reactions. And I think that's where the artist really shines well, because you got all those moments. So good comic craft. And we see where we're going from here.
Scott O'Neill and Auburn Elvis had it. It's Christian Slater. Christian Slater was the attorney.
My response to that is so freaking what? Christian Slater. I forgot he was the guy that, man, I need to go rewatch that. That was a good movie.
And let's see, Jason Lady adds, yeah, it'd been better if these bad guys were more the professional thief types than the terrorist world conqueror guys. Have Electro, Armadillo, Vanisher type of guys, not wizards.
Yeah, so. Yeah. That's a great point. Like I keep going back to the wizard, and yes, he's tapped into something that was subconscious to me. That's like you got all these guys in there, and like Doom or Lex Luthor or Magneto. Like, no, man, they need. Yes, Jason, that's absolutely right. They needed to be ground level guys.
Yeah.
Then it's easier to take away the Shocker's gloves. He's just a guy in a quilted suit, right?
Yeah, just a dude named Herman. He ain't gonna be bothering nobody.
That is exactly what I spent like 40 minutes of this episode trying to explain. You nailed it, Jason. Exactly.
Which is why he makes a good co-host, Jerry.
Let's not go too far.
All right. Last page.
Last page is the last page. We said we'd bring it up. It is the epilogue, but they called it a prologue, but it's the prologue of something big that's going to happen. So I see what they did there cleverly. This page is completely icky because it's like a bunch of dude bros sitting around like, oh, you totally bagged that girl. Yeah, I did. And I was like, yeah. And she was drunk, and that's gross. Anyways, with all the grossness aside, this is where they reveal, hey, I got like the secret information book, and we're going to stick it to every member of the families of the New Warriors. And I was like, oh man, this is going to get bad.
Yeah. And to give like old boys credit, and I already put my book up, and I'm not going to be able to read that from the print. Oh boy, I give him credit. He's like, yes, I slept with her. That's not the point. The point is the mission.
Yeah, I that part made me feel a little better about the icky part it came from.
Yeah, the point is the mission, and the mission is apparently to do some nefarious deeds, not just to the Warriors, but to the Warriors' families. And that, is a good time to say, dun, dun, dun.
So, Jason Lady makes a good comment that I noticed too, though. He opens the book to empty pages. Like, come on, guys. Put fake scribbles in there or something.
Yeah. Like some left-handed scribble, like speedball, but it has like one L or something. Yeah. All right. Well, dang. I said to start this, I didn't know whether we'd be able to cover anything, and we talked for a whole dang hour about this, man.
Well, we had a whole thing on prison reform that we wanted to talk about.
Yeah, prison reform, consent after drinks, all sorts of.
My goodness.
Goodness gracious. All right.
We need to cover some Gru comics here, man. Lighten this thing up.
All right, man. Go into your segment.
All right, we're going to talk about the Ultimate Warrior and the Ultimate Worrier. Who do we think was acquitted themselves the best in this issue to be the Warrior, and who are we, Nita, all concerned about? It's the Ultimate Worrier. Delvin, who do you have for Warrior? Who do you think had a great issue?
I'm going to go with Major Astro. Major Astro was the main catalyst in this book. And if anything, in a sense, Vance Astrovik was his mistake. And so he's doing what a good big brother, mentor, father figure should do and say, hey, man, I see what you're going through. And I'm just checking in on you. And I just want you to know, like, don't make the same mistakes I did. Here's how you can improve yourself. So I really appreciated that. Like, if you're someone who's a little bit older, you should be reaching back to those younger people, that younger generation, and helping them out. Because Jarrod, I believe that the children are our future. We're already we're late.
I won't be Jason. My Ultimate Warrior is going to be the Thing for his appearance on the cover. I'm just kidding. You know what? I'm going to give it. It's easy to give it to Vance. Vance sort of fixed a lot of things in this issue. And in a sense, you did, Delvin. But I'm going to give it to the guardsman, who he has an actual name. And he's named in the book. It's the one.
And I'm going to forget it.
Yeah. Anyway, the guardsman that has been working with Vance this whole time. Again, one thing I always appreciate in comic writers, if I'm going to beat up Fabian for being a little heavy-handed with his messaging, I have to lift him up for not falling into a ton of stereotypes. It's so easy to fall into the Shawshank Redemption stereotype of the guard who's brutal and mean and all this. This guard is very level-headed and very likable. And I thought that you don't see that a lot. So I will give him his bump. His name is Scott Washington. That just occurred to me. No one helped me in the chat. All right, let's worry. You just want to?
I'm fine with Nita.
Nita, yeah. Like it's one thing to have, regret of a party night out, right? It's another thing when the other shoe's going to drop and she's going to have to realize that I think this is going to get real bad.
I think you're right, Jarrod.
She's going to have to deal with that. And she just got done having to deal with biting off more than they could chew in their Middle East conflict. It's going to be a tough go for her. Because she went through all that and she was like, you know what? I've been through a lot. That was real tough. I'm going to go on a night out. And things literally got tougher. She's like the Peter Parker right now of the team, where just nothing is her friend right now.
Yeah, I agree. And just very quickly, Matt Passo says for Warrior, justice for living up to his new name. It's not a new name yet.
Wink.
Wink. And you have, Auburn Ellis just said Nita.
Yeah, she Nita's.
Okay, then he said Nita Warrior. So yes, he's worried about Nita. And let's see, Scott O'Neill. I think he thinks that Justice should be the warrior for this book.
He's being very subtle with it.
I know. We're going to have to ask you to be a little bit more obvious next time, please.
Can Scott, I sing that to the tune of Peaches, by the way? Justice, 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 justice.
Jason Lady, Warrior, Vance making the best of prison. Warrior, Nita. It's going to get very dark soon. Yeah, man, sun's getting real low, bud. And Matt Passo says for Warrior, Nita, obviously at this moment. And last, Scott O'Neill says Warrior, the Warden's plant. Q Berry White photosynthesis music and terror.
No, stop it. That's hilarious, but it's I want to answer a question in the chat from Eric, who asked, did Shawshank come out before this issue? No, it came out shortly after. Shawshank came out in 94. This issue came out in 93.
And then it's something that Shawshank Redemption was a bomb. It bombed.
It bombed at it's one of those box office bombs. It's just an incredibly good movie.
Yep. But DVD sales. Of course. Same with Office Space, by the way. Anyway, random trivia aside, 1 through 10 nightsticks. What do you want to rate it?
Oh, man. Anything that generates this much conversation, I think we have to at least start at a 7. Heavy-handedness drops it to a 6. Going out of type for the guard brings it back to a 7. Dawn of a new take on a character, I'll give it an 8.
I think I'm with you. The discussion generated plus the story itself, it was a good story, and it kept me intrigued. And so here's the inherent danger of doing what Fabian Nicieza did, and maybe it's not why it's copied as much. Like, you put out stories like this, they're raw and they are real. Like, he's trying to discuss real issues in a comic book, and sometimes, like, when it works, it works. And guess what? We are talking about the New Warriors 30 plus years later. So that's proof positive that it worked, because it's not like we're sitting there bringing up this book, trying to do some cool thing and razzing about, oh, this sucks and haha, we're cool because we're saying this thing sucks. Nope, not at all. We're just discussing the finer points of it, or the lesser finer points of it. But sometimes, it gets raw and edgy, and sometimes, time passes and it may or may not necessarily pass the test of time. But I will give Fabian credit for having the courage to come out with this. And as he mentioned, about a year or so ago, like, the number of discussions that were generated even between him and editorial were contentious at times. Like, maybe we have to have him back on and ask him how his relationship was with Rob Tokar. But like he was saying, that his relationship with Danny Fingeroth was a little bit contentious at times, because Danny Fingeroth tend to maybe lean more towards where you lean politically, and Fabian Nicieza was like, essentially like more left-leaning. So, but a lot of times that makes for good, real discussions when you're like, nope, you can't do this. Nope, you can't do this. It's like, the hell you say, I'm going to do this, and I'll go over you. And you want to fight? You want to go? But as a result, like, a pretty good storyline has developed so far. And this wraps up year 3 of New Warriors, by the way, man. We've been doing
3 years. And you know what? This probably got mentioned in the chat, and it probably bears repeating too. If I had read this in 93, I would have been 16 when it was on the show, and I probably would have been like, yeah, that's a deep story. Like, I have to admit, I'm 47 and jaded now, and you can see the process, and you can see the messages so much clearer when you're 47. So yeah, it's kind of like going to a magic show when you're 12 and then going when you're 47, and you're like, oh, I know how it does that. So I have to add that lens as well, if I'm being honest.
And a few more comments before I wrap up. Matt Paso gave it an 8. Says 8's a fair score for this issue. Jason Lady says 7 for me, pretty deep, like the slice of life focusing on Vance. Me too. Fabian did an awesome job of that. Like, Vance is a New Warrior. Yep, I did put him in the freaking clink, but I did not forget about him. Trey Black says 7, good filler story, great character work, sets up a ton. Art brings it down some. And Eric Porter says issue deserves an 8, only minus very little other warriors in the book. And I think this is a good comment to end on. Jason Lady says, I appreciate the positive tone you guys have as you do these reviews. You keep it in context and are respectful towards the work and the creators. After we end the stream, Jarrod and I spend like the next 2 hours just taking a lick, just dump. Oh my God, these guys are so That's not true. We don't do that. I'm kidding. I'm just playing, baby. You know I love you. I want to touch you. Sorry. That's the show, everybody. Please come back and join us for the next episode where we discuss New Warriors 37. Where the cover alone tells you something very not good is about to happen. If you'd like to hear more from us, LONGBOX CRUSADE, y'all check us out anywhere that there's social media. You look up LONGBOX CRUSADE, you're going to find us. X, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. We have a Patreon. Please join our Crusaders Club. Only $1 a month. We're still grandfathered in, y'all. $1 a month will get you access to Crusaders Club, where there's a lot of fun things going on. I just listened to a podcast of Jarrod and Jason's called Action Film Face Off, where they did a tournament style bracket of 128 movies that they have watched and determined the ultimate winner of the first 64 episodes of their podcast. And that was done with the help of not only the Twitter Xverse and Facebook, but also with the help of the Crusaders Club. The Crusaders Club heavily factored into the decision of what was the best movie. So like we make sure to get you involved, and at only $1 a month, it's a steal. We'd love to have you along, but if you don't have that money, a like and subscribe goes a long way on YouTube. Please like and subscribe. Please tell a friend about us so we can bring more people. I saw at one point, Jarrod, I don't know if you did, we crept over 20 people, and I was like, whoa, man, that was pretty dang trippy. It was awesome.
That was cool.
You can email us as well, contact@longboxcrusade.com. And I don't think we've had a voice message about the New Warriors yet, but if you ever did leave one, we would probably put it on the podcast recording. Pat,
I can set it up to where we could play it during the live stream too.
We could play it during the live stream. We could just append it to a podcast recording. Either way, we would love to hear from you in the form of the voice message. 707-532-5269, 707-532-LBOX. Pick up the phone. And with that, Jarrod, why don't you tell everybody where you can be found?
Not a problem. I am at Yard Sale Artist, be it X, Facebook, or Instagram is all at Yard Sale Artist. You can check out my artwares at www.theyardsaleartist.com. Delvin.
Twitter X, Delvin, DEE_RAY1977. Instagram at Delvin Ray, DELVINRAY. That's it, everybody. Thanks for enduring with us just a little bit longer than normal, but I hope that you enjoyed the discussion because we sure as heck did ourselves. See y'all next time. And remember, be a hero to somebody, even if it's just to yourself. Jarrod's about to come off mute with them bottles.
Read them all.
New Warriors, come out to play.
See you guys.
Night, everybody.